Um, yeah, maybe just some help in tracking something today. Again, I think I've said this one thing before. It's almost embarrassing. Like after all these years of martial arts and living in Japan and these things, I still really have no idea what Tanden is. Um, and if I even go to talk about it, I know I'm bullshitting. Like I really don't have a sense. And then today there was just sort of this kind of cascade, and there was this sort of like a transferable of the like the training, like like when we were when we hold the tree, there's a kind of like there's a tension, and we're holding this tree. But then today there was this moment where it was like, oh, that same tension felt like holding the room, not just holding the posture or holding the tree or holding this circle, but it was like the outside, the trees, like the static, or the things like that just sit here around me. Um, and it was and so I noticed there's all this relative motion, like there's relative vision and the motion of sound and the motion of tactile and touch, and there's all of this relative motion. And then there's that, it's not so much like a confusion, but it's like, this is a not doing, right? Like don't make, don't do. But then there's like this kind of tension, right? That it's like, oh, but if if you're not holding the tension, then it falls off, like you fall off, right? And so there's all of this relative, and I'm holding that in that tension, and I can't find any center. It's not 2 centimeters below my belly button. Like there's all relative motion, but I can't find, and there's a tension of, like, the holding. I don't, sorry, it's hard, I don't even know, but there's no center. And I'm not trying to make this mental, like I really am not, I don't even know what I'm asking, but I'll put it out there because it's like, yeah, I don't even know quite to frame it into a question, honestly. Yeah.
I hear you. I love it. Yeah. And you know, um, I talked about sealing the room, or sealing, can feel like the room kind of sealed. And then and in that, like, I couldn't really do anything. Couldn't do anything. I couldn't find anything. I couldn't make anything happen. Certainly wasn't any center there. Like, so maybe that framing of the room, that ceiling, could be talked about as Tanden. Like that could be the Tanden, it's like it kind of frames the context, and that's like, it's a different way of talking about Tanden. There is a physical part in, by the way, it's funny, like, Bill's like, he's like a kind of prototype Tanden person, you know what I mean? Sort of like it's like a bear, it's like a little bit like you make the soup, you taste it too much, you can't taste it anymore. That's a little bit like Tanden can be like that. It's like, where the fuck's the soup? Where is it? In the soup, you're actually drowning in the soup, and so you can't feel it. And it can be like that too. So, and we're kind of being drowned by this process. And so I kind of seal, you can kind of, and especially with this, like, wait, where's my body? My body is like, I just heard that bird, and that bird was like my body, right? And it can, so what your awareness has kind of sealed in this energetic context. And I think that's an interesting way of talking about some aspects of the Tanden. Like, oh, you sort of sealed in that. And then of course tomorrow or later, like, oh, I really do feel something in my belly.
Yeah.
So it really moves, it changes. And it's both and.
It's funny as you're talking this moment too. I guess it's like there's all of these motions, right? Like sensory, sensual. Well, I guess even the emotion, like, because there's a lot of this last while, like, these little talks after, like, there's always this emotion rising. I guess that's just relative motion too, right? Like, I guess that's just in the ceiling of whatever, like, that's just moving. I guess in some ways, like I was also, and again, I recognize that I was holding this as a question or thought, but recognizing that thought was just relative motion too. But this notion of like I couldn't find, like, yeah, again, like maybe just another word. I couldn't find a center, but I couldn't find a stillness either. Like, do you know what I mean? Like I know I've had those experiences, especially like with healing work, where a profound still point shows up. But I guess like anything, those things don't show until they show. They come when they come and they go when they go, I guess. And like, so yeah, I just put that as another layering on it. But I really appreciate what you're saying there. I thank you. That actually that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But again, this, like, maybe one last thing on that. But that like that like that necessary requisite tension. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so it doesn't just become slop or fall away. Like I know this isn't like we're just standing, we're not doing, we're not making. But maybe you could just speak quickly to, like, and I imagine, like anything, we have to let this, it lets itself go too. But the necessary tension, like of not too much, not too little. But sometimes that seems like work. Like it seems like, because it's so easy to fall off, right? Like it's so easy to fall out of it. And I just wonder how we approach that in our non-directed.
Right. No, that's really interesting. And um, some of the language that I really appreciate is some of the old samurai language, like a great rolling ball. I think that's really interesting. So like my awareness is a great rolling ball. This is how the samurai would talk about, about their state of mind walking around. I think that's really interesting. It's not like a still ball. It's actually meeting the environment as I'm moving, and it's so that this kind of huge rolling mind, and or a bridge to everything, or this unfettered mind. I think that's really beautiful. Um, like this mind that's always moving and always the center of everything, and again, never static. Of course there's static times, we know that, but there, on the other hand, we're kind of relating with everything that as we move. And I think that's really interesting. I do think that what the Tanden does with what it does with that tension, you say, or maybe we could think of it as tautness, full and taut, like epi, right? Like it's epi.
Tautness. That's it. It's a taut. Like, yeah, it's not like a tension that's, like it's, but it can deflate, right? Like, in or like, oh, whatever the, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
That epi, that full and tautness is I think that the sharpness of that is, I think, a lot of what we develop, because people can kind of feel things, but they don't really know how to kind of stay with it, or they don't know how to be with it. And so they kind of have this deflating aspect. And so that, I think that's also a whole developmental aspect to it, that it kind of stays taut. And then that doesn't have to be forceful, but and honestly, they talk about, samadhi is not easy. It's often, samadhi is like, I have to be profoundly with it, and so it's like that. It's this tautness of moving around in this kind of moving samadhi, is you can't just check out. And then of course at times you do disappear completely, and you're gone and everything's gone. And that's one aspect of samadhi. But other aspects, this functioning, is I am profoundly with it, and there's this fullness, and and in somehow it's trying to happen, but I can't just like check out with it. There's an aspect where of that sharpness, and I think that's the energetic body stuff creates this sharpness that is lacking in a lot of the meditation stuff that you see people kind of what's missing. It's that energetic sharpness to it that you don't see, unfortunately. Does that make any sense?
No, thank you. That's yeah. I guess it's just, yeah, just that's useful, because there's just that, I don't, I want to be, that I'm not making another layer of doing, or layering another making on top of it. But it's not for free either. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's an investment
Yeah,
into it of a type of sort. I don't know. Again, these words are always like,
yeah,
It, Bill, it sounded for a second there when you were talking before, it was like you're talking about like sort of like finding a balance between I forget exactly the words used, like tension and
It's
relax.
not balance. It's not balance. I don't think it's balance.
I don't either,
Yeah,
which is where I was going. I get
yeah,
my ears kind of perk up whenever there's like a mental model that's like treating something like a slider, and you're just trying to find the right spot
yeah,
on the slider. I always get suspicious of that. I think
yeah. I agree. Yeah,
like the two things they're not it's not like a quantitative difference, or like that's not the that's not the dimension we're working with. Just to go back to Chris for a second there, I just, as you were talking, I just had this thought, like what a I can tell it's not comfortable, but also like what a gift that your ways of uh not encountering reality aren't working so well right now. Like that's great. I wish mine weren't so effective. So you got that going for you.
Love it. I also think that honestly, there's something about I kind of come out of the even though I can want to escape it, the Mahayana Buddhist, that's kind of where I came from. And there's something about um the the heart about this that's involved in this tautness that makes it full, that makes the tautness full, and it keeps everything um like that profound heart opening, that that emotion you're feeling, that profound heart opening is involved in the tanden. They go together. So anybody who says they don't, they're missing half of it. They're missing the part that makes it dynamic and beautiful and sustainable and helping people. So there's something about that which is involved in that sharpness and that um, um, fullness that stays and can be real. There's something about it that's it's like half of it is this that comes out of that. Yeah. And I think, you'll notice too, you'll be doing this and then, but you got to kind of like, you got to like give yourself to it. You got to kind of care. You got to like, oh, I care about this. And there's something about that it it makes it enlivens in a way that is, you can see when that isn't happening with people. So that joy comes with it. The joy and the heart and all that comes with the real big Tanden stuff. And I think that's a part that I can't be can't be forgotten somehow. We had a lot of talking today. Two calls with lots of talking. Thanks so much, everybody. Anything before we go? Okay. See ya. Thank you so much.